The targeted support to CDEMA Project funded by Global Affairs Canada has been a key pillar to enhancing comprehensive disaster management in the region. Tell me a bit about the long-standing relationship that CDEMA has had with Canada that led to the implementation of this project.
Thank you, Crystal. So CDEMA has worked with the Government of Canada from the inception of the agency when it was established in 1991 as the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Response Agency. And at that time, Canada came on board because they believed in the direction that we were taking with respect to functional cooperation and the importance of the region working together to support each other when individual states have been impacted. Over the years, Canada has provided support for a diversity of areas in the CDEMA programming. This has included support for the first iteration of our country-directed fund, which was an innovative action by the coordinating unit to provide financial resources for the states. We've also supported the regional response mechanism over the years at various iterations, including integrating learnings from after-action reviews, financing deployments, but also supplying technical support in the form of airport specialists to the regional response mechanism over the years. And more recently, we've worked collaboratively on the targeted support to CDEMA Project, which has really been a true demonstration of the commitment to institutional support, providing financial support for key technical positions at the coordinating unit in support of our states, and also advancing a number of critical areas on the agency's program.
Through the project, CDEMA has taken a more gender-responsive approach to its operations, as seen through the hiring of the agency's first gender specialist, as well as the establishment of a safe space for women and girls in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. How does CDEMA plan to build on the foundation that has been laid by the project?
Gender has been identified as a critical cross-cutting issue for the comprehensive disaster management strategy and by extension into the overarching programming of the CDEMA coordinating unit. The support from the gender specialists has been very critical to our work at CDEMA. We've been able to enhance the capacity of our staff with the understanding of applications of gender in disaster risk management and how we practically integrate that into our programming. Our gender specialist has also been able to update a number of the technical standards and guidance documents at CDEMA to integrate gender considerations. And very importantly, we've been able to integrate gender trainings also into the work of our deployment teams as they go out into the field, so that the members of the deployment teams are much more sensitive about gender-related issues, gender-based violence, and how we are ensuring that we take all measures to protect vulnerable populations in the aftermath of events. And as we are going forward in the programming of the agency, we are committed to having gender as a critical issue supporting the work of the agency, and the work of the gender specialist has certainly laid the foundation for that.
One key outcome that has been achieved through the project has been support to community recovery. How has the Caribbean Early Recovery Fund impacted CDEMA's participating states?
The Caribbean Early Recovery Fund is really very much in keeping with the introduction of recovery as a new functional area that the CDEMA coordinating unit provides services to our participating states. And the genesis of it is because we recognize that when we have impacts in our participating states, it is communities that are most affected. And we wanted to look at a mechanism by which we could provide support to populations at the community levels, particularly with the restoration of livelihoods in the aftermath of events. So under this fund, with the targeted support to CDEMA Project, we've been supporting 5 of our participating states with a diversity of initiatives, which look at livelihood restoration, including within the agricultural sector. We've looked at a mitigation project in Antigua and Barbuda, and the intent of these initiatives is to ensure that the communities can not only bounce back from the impacts of the hazards, but also to be able to bounce forward in a much more resilient way.
So as we know, the Caribbean remains the second most hazard-prone region in the world, which means that the regional response mechanism plays a significant role in relief and coordination efforts. How has the project strengthened the operational readiness of the regional response mechanism?
Canada, in fact, was the donor which supported the review of the regional response mechanism, and a number of recommendations had been made as to how we strengthen and really build the next level of our regional response mechanism. Under the Targeted Support to CDEMA Project, we've continued that support by the Government of Canada in supporting the RRM, principally in 4 areas. There has been training in the area of search and rescue, which has resulted in having over 60 trained practitioners supporting the already existing capacity in the region in search and rescue. We have also been able to support the implementation of the flagship regional exercise, which is Exercise Synergy, which brings together a diversity of partners, our countries, development partners, as well as other response partners, in really going through the paces within the operational procedures of the regional coordination plan, so that when we are activated, we are able to respond in accordance with that plan. In addition, there's also been further support to the regional response mechanism through the deployment teams, and this has been critical, for example, in Barrow, and there's been significant investment also in enhancing the telecommunications capability in emergency situations, and specifically through the provision of over 300,000 Canadian dollars in emergency telecommunications equipment, and this we demonstrated the value during the Barrow deployment as well.
With improved governance of CDEM being integral to the project, how has the re-engagement of the CDEM Coordination and Harmonization Council contributed to achieving resilience through the CDEM strategy?
Well, one of the reasons why I established the CDEM Coordination and Harmonization Council was to really bring to the center the conversation on resilience at the sectoral level. And under the project, we've been able to revitalize that mechanism. And during the project period, we've convened 3 meetings of the CDEM CHC, which have advanced discussions not only on the existing sectoral conversations, but also made recommendations for new sectors which ought to be incorporated, such as water and energy. And we have also been able to bring together the sector subcommittees in 3 areas. These include education, the physical and environmental planning, as well as civil society. And we are now moving towards the establishment of the new sector committees through a dialogue at the level of the sector leads to build in mechanisms now for advancing resilience conversations for energy and water, and for incorporating some additional cross-cutting themes, including psychosocial support and the challenges related to human displacement.
Thank you so much, Ms. Riley, for taking the time to speak with me today.
Thank you very much, Crystal.